3 days after leaving the season opener during the second half because of a hamstring injury, Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Joey Porter Jr. did not participate in the first practice of the week. The top reserve at outside linebacker, Nick Herbig, was listed as a limited participant on the injury report. Coach Mike Tomlin on Tuesday expressed optimism Porter and Herbig would be healthy enough to play in the Steelers' home opener Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. Also missing practice Wednesday was swing backup offensive tackle Calvin Anderson, rookie defensive tackle Derek Harmon, and starting string safety Deshaun Elliott. Elliott knee and Harmon knee have been ruled out for Sunday's game. Elliott and Porter suffered their injuries during Sunday's win at the New York Jets, a contest in which Herbig did not play. Harmon has been out since the preseason finale, though there had been hope he could return to practice soon. Anderson was listed as having an illness. Veteran defensive players T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward were given days of rest, although Hayward was given a limited participant designation. One day after the Jets released him, wide receiver Xavier Gipson was conveniently picked up by the other New York NFL team, the Giants. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reported on Thursday. Gipson was released by the Jets on Wednesday after he had an unfortunate fumble during their Week 1 34-32 loss to the Steelers. Gipson fumbled the ball on a punt return to start the fourth quarter of Sunday's contest. The Jets were up 26-24 at that point, but when Pittsburgh got the ball back, the Steelers ended up scoring a touchdown in 2 plays to take the lead 31-26. The game didn't end there, of course. The Jets answered by scoring a touchdown of their own to regain the lead. But in the end, Steelers kicker Chris Boswell hit a last-minute 60-yard field goal to win the game. The Giants have 2 hurt receivers right now. Darius Slayton has a groin injury, and Wan'Dale Robinson has an ankle injury. They were both limited participants in Thursday's practice ahead of their Week 2 matchup versus the Cowboys. James Daniels' injury poses complications for Steelers' draft strategy. The Pittsburgh Steelers are currently in a favorable position regarding their draft picks for the 2026 NFL Draft, a testament to the strategic foresight of their general manager, Omar Khan. Over recent months, Khan has diligently amassed a collection of draft assets, recognizing the importance of the NFL's compensatory pick system. However, a recent injury to former Steelers guard James Daniels threatens to diminish the value of those efforts. Impact of Daniels' injury on Steelers' compensatory picks. Ezoic. Daniels, who is now with the Miami Dolphins, sustained a significant pectoral injury that will sideline him for an extended period. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel confirmed that Daniels is expected to miss at least a month, though there is hope he could return at some point during the regular season. For the Steelers, this situation is particularly unfortunate as it likely jeopardizes a compensatory draft pick they were anticipating. Over the Cap had projected that Pittsburgh would receive a 6th-round pick due to the lucrative contract Daniels signed with Miami. However, with Daniels set to miss a substantial number of games, he may not meet the required playing time threshold to trigger that compensation for the Steelers. Ezoic. Daniels' career and transition to Miami. This setback is particularly disheartening for Daniels, who has faced his share of injuries throughout his career. A talented interior lineman, he served as a pivotal player for the Steelers for 2 seasons before opting for free agency this past offseason. As the starting right guard during the 2022 and 2023 seasons, he was poised to continue his growth until a torn Achilles tendon sidelined him for the entire 2024 season with Pittsburgh. In search of a fresh start, Daniels signed a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Dolphins, aiming to provide solid protection for quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Unfortunately, this latest injury could keep him off the field for a significant stretch, potentially impacting Miami's offensive line cohesion. Shifting draft dynamics for the Steelers. While the loss of Daniels is a blow to his career, it also opens the door for new possibilities for the Steelers. With one less former player in the running for a compensatory pick, other candidates may emerge. For instance, Dante Jackson, another former Steeler, could now be in line to help the team secure that coveted 6th-round selection. As the Steelers navigate the landscape of their draft strategy, the nuances of compensatory picks remain a critical factor. With Daniels' situation still unfolding, Pittsburgh fans and analysts alike will be watching closely to see how these developments impact the team's future. Going back to last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been trying to upgrade their number 2 wide receiver spot. For a brief moment this offseason, they had their answer, but then they traded George Pickens. Since then, they've poked around a few different receivers, but they haven't made any significant additions. However, perhaps that could change if Miami Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill becomes available. Could he potentially be on the move? NFL insider James Palmer said recently on Bleacher Report's YouTube channel. Certainly. Could it be closer to the trade deadline? That's much more likely. This could be a 4th-round pick. This could be a 5th-round pick. It could be somewhere in that range, but it's not something that the Dolphins are entertaining right now, to my understanding. It's something they didn't entertain in the offseason. Teams called during the offseason as they were watching the Dolphins go through this process. Teams asked, and the Dolphins said no. Could that change before the course of the trade deadline? Certainly, but it's way too early to do that. Hill has been one of the best receivers in the league for several years. His speed makes him electric, and he has been a first-team All-Pro multiple times. In 2023, he posted his 3rd straight season of over 100 receptions, pairing that with 1,799 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. However, Hill had a down year in 2024. He caught 81 passes for 954 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's still a fine year, but it doesn't meet Hill's standards. His relationship with the Dolphins looked like it soured last season, culminating in a trade request this offseason. While he walked that back eventually, things still seemed tense in Miami. Hill had an underwhelming Week 1, catching 4 passes for 40 yards as the Dolphins got blown out by the Indianapolis Colts. If things continue to go wrong for the Dolphins, then maybe Hill will be on the move. If Palmer is correct, then it shouldn't cost much in the way of draft capital to acquire him. While he could be on the decline, even if he's only as good as he was last year, he could be an upgrade for the Steelers. However, the situation is more complicated than that. Hill is being investigated on allegations of domestic violence. His history with the law isn't pretty, to say the least. Therefore, that issue could have a dramatic impact on the Steelers' potential interest in him. We'll see how things with Hill develop as the season progresses. It doesn't seem like anything major is imminent with him, though. The Steelers' offense had a good showing in Week 1, so maybe they don't need to upgrade at wide receiver. The next few weeks should help make this picture a little clearer.